Three, two, and one. Hello there. It is Tuesday, March the 31st. It is journal number 311. Who'd have thought? T+363, just a couple of days till April 2nd and my first transplant birthday anniversary. Nobody is happier about that than I am because it means that I'm still here talking to you, which is a wonderful thing. Today was an interesting day. I started the morning out by putting the finishing touches on the first draft of a column. That sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? It's, you started off by finishing. I don't know, whatever. That's what happened. I was finishing up a column for the magazine that I write for, and I have a column to send them, but I chose to write about something else at the last minute, and I really think this is more appropriate for the time and place we find ourselves in right now. And that's kind of what we're talking about today. Managed to take a long walk with a good friend, maintaining physical distancing. I don't like the term social distancing. The last thing in the world we need at a time like this is social distancing. What we really need to do is be cognizant of the physical distance between us, and our need to hunker down, to sequester ourselves, to self-quarantine, as it were. But my friend and I took a walk across the valley, a long walk, 4.5 mile walk altogether. 2.25 of those miles were on our way to a nutrition shop that we both frequent. My friend was running out of protein bars. I have plenty. I was just in the store recently before all of this craziness started. But my friend was running low, and we decided that as long as we had to walk and we wanted to take a long walk, that's where we'd go. And when you're involved in a long walk like that, you talk about a lot of different things. And we were talking about the economy, and we were talking about the pandemic, conjecturing about when we're going to hit the spike here, the pinnacle, the peak here in Southern California, talking about what a great job we believe that both our governor, Governor Newsom, and New York's Governor Cuomo have done, along with other governors and mayors, in managing the current crisis. But as a small business owner, in all honesty, talking about the economy or the culture or social or physical distancing or the pandemic, in academic terms, is one thing. As a small business owner, I understand the consequences perhaps as well or better than anybody does, because when you're making decisions on other people's lives, like reducing the number of hours or having to furlough or lay off employees or having to contract your business because the economy has tightened up, are very different than talking about the same issues in more academic terms. And it's really, nothing brings that home more clearly than the opportunity to speak to a real, honest-to-God, normal person. And the fellow that owns the store is such an individual. He's bright, he's articulate, hard-working guy, really trying to build something substantial, something of consequence for himself and his family. And then you're confronted with the reality of what he's dealing with, and the fact that business has dropped off precipitously, that there aren't that many people coming in for protein shakes or drinks or vitamins or protein bars or anything like that. Sales have dropped off by 60, 70, 80, 90%, and he's faced to deal with that reality. While his rent and his expenses, his fixed expenses, haven't changed at all. And especially meaningful since he just remodeled this store and had to take out a loan to do that. In negotiating with the landlord just frankly turned around and said, there is no negotiation, take out a loan. You have a lease. The lease is pretty straightforward. There are no force majeure clauses in the lease, so you're on the hook for the money. Certainly, he can turn around and explore whatever possibilities this last, bill that went through the Congress, relief bill that went through the Congress, it can and possibly will do for him, but that doesn't ease the anxiety of trying to figure out how you're going to go ahead and make a fixed mortgage, a fixed lease payment, pay your insurance, pay your suppliers, pay that loan payment when there's no money, little or no money coming in. And somehow saying that we know that we'll all come through this eventually, that we'll all get through this together, while it sounds wonderful, in the vortex of a plan, or at least the ability to see the end, to see the light at the end of the tunnel, in order to find your way out of the darkness, it's not easy. And you have to go back, I think that you have to go back to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's first inaugural address, in which he said that the only thing that we have to fear is fear itself. That we can get through most anything as long as we're dedicated to the end result of getting through it, finding your way to the other side, and remaining whole as you do that, and making sure that those that are close to you are able to make that journey with you. I think it's important that we remember that. I think that that's probably one of the most important lessons of all of this. I think one of the first lessons is that we need each other. We shouldn't really consider trying to do this on our own, trying to do it alone. You probably can, but I'm not sure that it makes any sense to do that. I think that it's important to recognize that when we're talking about physical distancing, not social distancing, and that we still we need to reach out. The first thing I did when I got home after the walk was to reach out to a number of people that I care about deeply and haven't talked to in a while. I want them to know that somebody's thinking about them, that somebody's looking out for them. I think that we have to maintain our social connectivity. We have to do that in order to get through this. So I would suggest to all of you, support the businesses that you're still able to support. I understand the paranoia that is associated with the pandemic. I have to go to the City of Hope on Thursday to have a procedure done. Believe me, even knowing how careful they are on a much deeper level than just most patients do, because I'm involved in the Patient Family Advisory Council, and I know how seriously they take this. I know the extreme measures they're taking to ensure the safety of everyone involved at the City of Hope and on the campus. It's still worthy of conjecture and concern, because you just don't know. Recognize that the biggest component that's working against your success in getting through that is fear, and probably is the only thing that you have to fear. The statistical probabilities of everything else are pretty small when you look at them. So remember that the only thing that you have to fear is fear itself. Try to act accordingly. That doesn't mean doing anything foolish, by the way. That means being as careful as you can, following all the guidelines and limits that are coming down the pipeline from responsible government, and doing whatever is necessary to stay well and stay whole. And on that, I will say, till next time.